Hey everybody, Backpack Hack here, coming at you with another trail tip about the 10 things that every bag needs. Now I'm talking specifically about these kind of things, bags or backpacks. I'm talking about the backpack that you use for an overland hike. I'm talking about the hydration pack that you have for a day trip. I'm talking about bug out bags, get home bags, inch bags, good bags, battle bags, whatever you want to call them. 72-hour bags, 24-hour bags, get bags, go bags, grab bags. I don't care what you call them. These 10 items belong in all of those bags. And if you have more than one, then every bag needs to have their own dedicated kit of these 10 items. So let's get started. Number one, water. You got to have water. Yes, there is water in this container. Okay. This is the water bottle that I have in one of my vehicles right next to my get home bag, and there is water in it, and even though it freezes here in the winter, I don't have to worry about this. Yes, it would be a pain in the butt to have to start out with ice in my container, but at least I've got something that I know is potable. I use these metal containers so they can freeze. I can just leave them in the vehicle. They can freeze and thaw to their heart's content. They aren't going to burst. But you gotta have water. No matter what you're prepping for, no matter what you're putting the bag together for, no matter what you're using the bag for, you need to have water. Number two, some sort of water container. Now this one is empty. This also is part of my get home bag, but I have an empty bottle. And the reason being is when I go to collect water, I don't want to put it directly into this container because that might contaminate the potable water that's already in here. I want a separate container, and if you want to know why, watch this video up here. So I can process my water. I can take this and use it as unpotable water and decide what I need to do. Do I need to filter it? Do I need to boil it? Do I need to do what? Number three, a way to filter water. Now I use the Sawyer Mini. There's a lot of different manufacturers out there that have a lot of different products. They all pretty much do the same thing, depending on how much weight and cost and trouble you want to go through to filter your water, that's fine. Now I've seen a lot of people use these things, life straws. They put them in their bug out bags, their get home bags, whatever. And the principle is very, very simple. You open up the caps, and if you wanted to, you could just get right down on your knees, put this in a water source, and drink directly out of that water source. Great concept, except for one thing. You can't process water with this. You can't take water out of a source and put it in here. You won't be able to do it. So that's why it is important to have a way to process your water. And that composes of three different items. A water container for your treated water, your water treatment system, and a way to collect water. If you want to watch a video on the importance of some of this stuff, watch this video up here. Number four is food. You want some sort of nourishment. Now this is what I keep in my get home bag. I carry energy bars, chips, crackers, cookies, nuts, things like that. Things that aren't as sensitive to temperature swings. However, if this is just going to be a day pack, I can take whatever I want. I can take chocolate bars or something like this because it's like 52 degrees right now. But you need to have a food source with you. And in my get home bag, I carry things that can be both frozen and oven baked because it's going to be sitting in my vehicle summer and winter. So I want something that will withstand those kind of temperature extremes, and these things fit the bill nicely. Number five on the hit parade, Firestarter. You need some way to start a fire to keep yourself warm when it gets cold at night. Now, not every night that you're going to be out is going to be cold, but if it does get cold or you need to set off a signal fire, you need some sort of way to make fire. In my bug out bag, I carry something very simple. A lighter and some matches. Now my backpack and my bug out bag, I'll carry ferro rods, I carry flint and steels, I carry solar starters, all that sort of stuff. But at minimum, you should at least have two ways of starting a fire, either to keep warm at night or to set a signal fire. Firestarter. Number six, some sort of navigation, and that usually means a map and a compass. Doesn't have to be a fancy map, but don't rely on your cell phone to give you Google Maps. Have a paper map. If you're going to be out in a rural area or out in the wilderness, you're going to want a topographical map. If you're going to be in the city, you want a street map. But either way, you need a map. You may think in the city you don't need a compass. Well, you may get into a neighborhood walking home with your get-home bag that you're not familiar with, and some of these windy streets that they have, on a cloudy day, you could get yourself turned around, and the next thing you know, you're going the wrong direction. So a map and compass, some sort of navigation, should always be in these bags. Number 7, gloves. Doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't have to be expensive, just very basic gloves. This is a pair of Kinco that I got at a local store for $3 a pair. So I bought several pair, one for every bag that I have. They're a simple elastic material, and they got kind of a rubber grippy material. So if nothing else, I'm able to grip objects and protect my hands against minor cuts and abrasions. A pair of gloves, number 7. Next up, the first aid kit. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, wait a minute, that's obvious. Yes, it's obvious, but you still need some sort of first aid kit. I'm just putting this in here because it is required, even though it's such an obvious thing. Number 8, another pair of socks. This may not seem so obvious, but if your feet get wet or starting to get cold, having another pair of socks can really make the difference. I tell people, to me, this is just such an obvious thing to have. It's very, very lightweight. Yes, sometimes they can be bulky, but having a second pair of socks, if your feet get wet, you need to stay cold at night, or for some other reason. If nothing else, if you have a way to heat up water, you can make this and this into a water bottle. If you want to know how, watch this video up here. Number 9, a flashlight. It doesn't have to be an expensive one, but you need a flashlight. I can't think of anything worse than being on the trail and having to set up camp, make a meal, try to navigate in the dark without a flashlight. And it's like the first aid kit. It's one of those no-brainer things. I just throw it in there because it's part of the list. You have to have a flashlight. And finally, a knife. Now, I'm going to recommend that you get yourself a good knife. Don't buy the little $5 things at Harbor Freight. Get yourself a good knife. Now, it doesn't matter whether you get a large hunting knife like this or a simple folder like this. Any knife can work in a pinch. It's just you're going to be able to do more with a good knife than you will with something like this. Batoning firewood is a very good example. You might be able to skin a small game animal that you took for food with something like this, but it's a lot easier with something like this. So number 10, a knife. And that wraps up the 10 items that I think every bag should have. Like I say, it doesn't matter whether it's your bug out bag, your go bag, your get home bag, your inch good, whatever you want to call it bag. These are the things that you need in those bags at all times. Don't buy just one and shuffle it back and forth because things are going to get lost. You're going to forget things. Have all this stuff dedicated to each bag. So this is Backpack Hack coming at you with this trail tip. Be safe out there. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share them. And I'll see you out on the trail.